Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Derek Stevens, the Crow again. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing that, but I do like to hear my own name. The Crow, the Crow, the Crow, the Crow. Anyway, I hope you guys have a big smile on your face. And this lesson we're going to talk about refining lines and strokes using our hatch marks, recognizing simple shapes with the still life. Now, I've not done a still life literally in years, okay? Since my days in college, my days have been drawing hot chicks, dragons, and guns. So it's going to be nice to get back to basic roots. We're looking at this whole illustration right here. So it's beautifully done. If I see circles for grapes, I see another circle right through here. I'm not for sure how to break this down to tell you what sort of shape it is. It's a violin shape. I see cylinders through here. A square, rectangles through here. Again, I'm going to do this by recognizing simple shapes. I'm going to come up here actually and start out with a brand new layer. I'm going to call this layer Base 01. And as always, I come over to my non-photo blue, my bestest friend in the whole world. I'll take it here. And let's go ahead and look at our image size again. Image size is 20 by 20, 300 dpi. It's not changed, but it's always good to look at your workspace to make sure everything's sorted out. I'm on my base 01 layer right here. It would help if I hit my B for my brush. What we're going to do is a loose gesture drawing. We just covered that over everything right here. And after we get that done, we're going to talk about refining the lines. Basically, an outline sketch is going to go on right after the gesture sketch. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to put some highlights and some shadows in using cross-hatching. It's kind of an exercise to make sure that we drive home everything that is needed to be a good artist. So with that said, let's go ahead and start. Everybody's ready? Oh, hey, guess what I just seen? Let's go to my image, mode, let's go to RBG. And I'm going to have to flatten this. That's a good lesson. Let's go ahead and make another layer again. Call it Base 01. There we go. I checked my workspace, but I didn't see what was in front of me. As an artist, it's really nice to be very handy and visual and observant. So, here we go. I'm going to start going from left to right. So I see this shape here, and again, I'm just doing a gesture drawing. I'm creating volume. It's almost an oblong circle. Followed by a stick. It's the top part of the violin. Let's make it a little bit thicker through here. And it's leaning on this big, nice round jug of ale. Again, really nice and loose. It doesn't have to be super detailed, making a gesture drawing. Now here's kind of a secret for perspective. Another golden nugget for you ladies and gentlemen listening to it right now. Right now this quasi-quad circle is straight on. What I want to do is I want to bring it back through here. So I'm going to take the outermost part edge right here. And then I know it's starting to come past the violin because the violin is leaning on it. So I'll go like this, make another circle behind here, and bring it down here. I'm drawing the volume. Now later on when we do our outline sketch, we're not going to draw all this volume in here. But this is the circle on the other side. So we have the violin leaning on top of this, this jug. We have our little spigot right here, spigot of little bits of heaven. And I'm not going to bother counting the grapes. Just making some circles like this to simulate where my grapes are at. And then I've got me a box. This is also in perspective here. So I'm going to start off with a little triangle like this. I'm going to bring this in front. And I'm just eyeballing right now, but I'm going to draw everything around so I create volume. This way it gives the illusion as this is in front of it. This is a quick gesture drawing. So let's go ahead and bring this back here, like so. And we got ourselves a little bitty base to put our wine glass on. I'm seeing a cylinder through here, like so. There's some liquid in here. Let's just go ahead and draw a cup. like that. And there's some more nuts. Blanket. And then you go from a gesture drawing. Let me reiterate again what I did, because I believe in repeating myself. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a darker blue this time. We'll do this here so you can tell what's going on top of everything. I'll actually fade this layer out here. You see it starts to ghost out. I'll create another layer here. I'll say base 02. That layer is selected. And my brush, okay, there we go. There's a test. I'll actually bump up my brush size a bit to a 30. And again, with the gesture drawing, I'm seeing shapes. And through here, I can start refining things. There's a nice little curve in through here. It's still really nice and rough. Top of my stick is through here. A little curly Q like that. We know we have our tub of liquid courage here. Little spigot. And again, we've already drawn this in the first pass. We know it's that side, so I'm just going to draw like this. I've created my volume, my depth. I've got my grates right here. We know this comes in front of it. Like so. We know this is a cylinder. Notice I'm making an ellipse right here, bringing it down. And there is our cup. Again, just quick lines. It's like almost a nervous tick. You just go for it. There's no right or wrong. It's nice and it's loose. That's exactly what we want to do. The composition is brilliant. And we'll talk about composition here in a little bit. So what I'll do is go ahead and I'm touching my Wacom, hitting shift, bringing it like this. Again, touching my Wacom tablet, hitting shift, bringing it down here. Touching my Wacom tablet and screen. I'm just making a box so we know what we can work in. That's a working frame. That way we can put some really cool speckles and some highlights and some shadows in through here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ghost this out quite a bit like this. This base layer 1 I'm going to take all the way off. I'm going to create another layer I'm going to call line 01. So this is kind of our outline. We're going to go in there with a little more detail. Take your time on it. I'll zoom in. Make sure that we get some really nice strokes. Refining the lines. Basically, when the external part of the model is completely finished, it's kind of like a wireframe. You have a lot of lines, and they're free in the gesture drawing. But whenever you do a line drawing, one of the final line drawings, things will be a lot more firm. So things aren't floating into space. Now this loose gestural drawing that we have down here, I'll pump this back up for you. It creates volume. That's great, but that's not what we're really looking for. Right now we're going to do this outline drawing. We're really going to take our time. So let's zoom in here, shall we? We have our base already made. I'm going to take my time. I see there's a small ellipse through here, and I'll start with a darker gray. So I'm going to come through here and follow the contours of my line. Like so, and I don't like it, so let's do it again. Let's start off with this landmark right here, and then build upon that. It curves in like so, comes back out. This comes in here like that, and then from up here, not down here, but from right here, let's go ahead and follow this all the way around here like that. Then this side, the same thing. All the way around here like that until we reach our border. Come back up through here. You can tell how this goes around. I'm going to meet this line here. This comes down. Follow this line here. Now check this out. It's a pretty cool shape. I'm not for sure how to what the shape is, but it's a cool shape. We're creating volume, and we started off with a gesture drawing, just like the last lesson. Gesture drawings are super powerful. So let's come up through here. I notice this area right here is a small recess, so let's go ahead and draw this in. Now, I'm looking for my landmark here. It comes down here. So this is where it starts. Comes down here, so like so. Let's go ahead and bring it around here. Now notice I stop right here. Let's bring it down here a little bit. I stop right there. There's this area right here. It's a small triangle. It goes on top. Comes in like this, and let's also give this depth. You see how we have these lines here and this nice thick area? Let's really zoom in here, come down, start from this corner, bring it like this, and then we can finish this line here that meets down in this corner. So now when I turn this off, we're starting to get a shape that resembles a violin. Not very bad. It's my French accent, and I apologize to any French people listening to me right now. So we're going to come straight across here, and I'm going to take my brush size down to a 15. And again, I'm going to hit my canvas, hit shift, nice straight line. And here's a secret. Now again, how we created this volume here, I'm not touching right here. I'm going to touch just above this area. Zoom in really close. Not down here, but right here. Come back, not quite to the point. And now I can come down here like this. And it's nice, straight edges. I mean, even at my level, and no matter what the level, it's hard to get these nice straight lines like that. You even have aliasing and the shaky hands. Maybe you drank too much coffee. So there you have it. There you are for almost making the violin. We're going to come back up here. We have this little area. It's kind of a box. Creating volume again, and I don't like any of those. Let's start over, shall we? Yes, we shall. I like that idea. Well, thank you, Derek. I thought of it all myself. So, coming back down here, you can tell it comes down at a slight angle. Comes up, and we're out of frame right now. That's all right. And then to create that depth again, I'm going to come over here at this angle here. And I have this going on. And then we have our strings. And I'll really bring my brush size down for that. I'll bring it down to a 7. I know nothing about violins, or fiddles, whatever you want to call them. We'll give them 3 strings. So I'm touching here, hitting shift. Touching here, hitting shift. Touching here, hitting shift. And we have a perspective problem. So let's figure this out together, shall we? Yes, we shall. So what I'm going to do is with my selection tool right here, this is the level that's selected, or layer, I'm going to marquee over this, hit Control T. I'm going to rotate this up, move it around just a little bit. Instead of redrawing everything, I'm going to hit Enter, Control D to deselect. Now I'm going to try to come back here again for my brush. I'll start here this time and hit Shift. That's much better. Come here, hit Shift, here, hit Shift. Now we have 3 lines, and we learned something new. Or maybe you already knew it, but it's a nice Photoshop trick. That's how I resize a lot of things when I do my drawings. Move things around so I don't have to keep redrawing the same thing. It's nice, it's fast, and when you're a freelance artist, time is money. So let's go ahead and bring our brush size back up to a 25, and we'll go ahead and finish this line out here like this. And while we're at it, let's bring our brush size down to a 9. And I was talking about sharp edges. Now, it's not a super sharp edge, but I really like how that ellipse looks right here, so let's do this. Let's follow this around, get in here nice and tight. That's a smaller brush size. We're following it around nice and neat. Does our drawing have that here? It stops at the edge here. Let's go ahead and finish this one out. I'm starting up a little bit above the curvature, coming down here like that. And let's go ahead and do the same thing here. And this is why all the exercises in previous classes are going to help you, because we're making one continuous long, smooth line. It's all about hand control. So come back here like this. Let's turn the space 2 off. And we have something that's resembling really quick, a violin or a fiddle. Now I'm not going to get into tons of detail and all that sort of stuff. I just, again, want to talk about the outline of the drawing for the gesture drawing. So this is good. I like this. This will make me happy at the moment. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with our big box here, our tub of beer. I'm assuming it's beer. Probably wine because we've got grapes. I'm going to follow this around here like this. Oops. Like so. I'll show you guys another trick. I'm going to take my marquee selection tool. I'm going to select this entire circle I just made. I'm going to hit Control Copy, Control V. I have myself another little circle. Bring it back here. Hit Control T. And now I'm going to shrink this magenta down. Something like that. That makes me happy. Now I created a new layer. Let's go ahead and name it. Let's name it Back Jug. So now we know it. I turn it on, turn it off. That's fine. Because, you know, right now I have this back of the jug going through my violin. I'll hit my eraser tool, pump this up a bit. And I know we're not going to need to see it from this area or this angle right here. And let's go back to my line layer here. Go back to my brush. And again, hitting Shift. Coming down through here, hitting the outermost edge, hit Shift. And we have ourselves a nice little cylinder. Let's do this with the block right here. I really like making straight lines with using my Shift, and then it's brilliant. So I'm coming to this corner here, hitting Shift down here, Shift, Shift. Almost done. So now I turn my base 2 off. Get some good stuff going on here. Using simple shapes based off of our gesture drawings. Now I know we're seeing through the block right here. We don't really want to do that, so I'm going to hit my eraser tool. Get this nice and neat. That's fine. Maybe this is not going to be a finished piece by any means. Hit my brush button, and I will hit Shift here. Make a small line like this. Now I want to make a circle or an ellipse right down here. This can actually be the size and the shape that I want my cylinder to be. So zoom in here really nice and tight. Actually, let's go back. Let me get a different color so I can illustrate this more poignant to you. I'm going to come down here to my ellipse, building this nice shape here, and then I'll come back and get a darker gray, and then I'm coming down like this, making it kind of fat, and boom. Now, there's a couple schools of thought. I can come back in here and try to match everything. That's actually a pretty darn good job. Or we can take and make another layer and come here and select this line we just made, hit Control C for copy, Control V to paste. And let's go ahead and move this out so you can see it a little more. And let's say this is glass 01. Enter. I'm going to hit Control T, get my selection tool. I'm going to drag it across like this. And boom. Hit Enter. Use my eraser tool to erase this up here. And we have ourselves a little cylinder. So we're starting to jam here, okay? Same thing with the glass. Let's go ahead and make another selection of red. We'll make the ellipse up here like so. If I hit my brush button, let's come back down here to my line 01. Come up here, make my ellipse, go back to a gray, and this time I'm not going to select and move things around. I'm just going to come down here, eyeball it like this, comes flat, make another ellipse around here like this, and this wouldn't frame this all up. So now we have from our, let's go through the whole thing. Let's turn off all the layers here. We started out with our base, this quick rough gesture drawing. From here we went to our base 2 layer. Started to refine lines and line weight and some more detail. From here we went to our line 01. Let's say base off. And then I have to turn a couple other layers on because we have the back and I guess the other part of glass 1. This is what we have so far. I like it, I'm happy. So those are line drawings, and just for giggles, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and get a gray right here. You can see the numbers, 337 by 955, 140, 128, 132. It doesn't have to be that exact. I'm going to hit that gray here. I'm going to bring my opacity level all the way down to like 19. Hit my brush, and I'll get a soft brush here. Bring this up here, do a test. All right, I'm happy with that. And what we can do here is, we know there's some shadows in through here. And start off nice and light. Now the beautiful thing about Photoshop is, you don't have to start out light, you can do dark. But traditional painting, whenever you start out dark, it's harder to make something lighter after making it dark. So I'm stuck in that mode. I make things light first. And we have a little bit of shadow on this area through here. A little bit of shadow here. Let's go ahead and bring a little bit darker through here, same opacity. Getting a little bit closer to the edge here. A little bit darker through here. Leave this side a little bit lighter. Bring my size of my brush down a little bit more. Now just having a little bit of fun. Bring this up here. Let's just pat it a couple times. Pat, 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 pat. And now for cylinders. We done one, I think, lesson 102, where we kind of have a highlight. Now I'm going to put all this detail into it. But let's just assume for a moment the lighting source is coming from this way, because that's where the shadows lie. So what I want to do is, I'm going to bring my opacity down to an 11, my brush size down through here like this. I'll start putting a shadow through here, so it's building up and then it gets darker. And then to make it more cylinder-like, I'll make another line through here. And then bring it down nice and small. So now it looks like light is bouncing off and bouncing here and then being absorbed by the shadow. Here's our little liquid. And through here, liquid through here. And now for fun, let's go ahead and get an interesting looking brush. We'll get this one here. And we'll pump up the size. Notice it's darker through here to make things pop. Really darken through here. And now what I can do is I can select my entire area and make a new layer first. and say gray, Gray, and I will hit Alt Delete, and oh my gosh, it's all hidden. What's going on? Let's actually bring this all the way to the top so it hides everything. Bring my opacity down to here. Another tip and trick for you. I need my eraser tool. And now I'm erasing on top of that layer. And it's fun, and it gives it sort of a textured type feel. Let's go ahead and bring it to a hard eraser. Bring it down even more. Little highlights in the glass. And through here. Deselect. And there you have it, there you are. My first still life in a very, very long time, and maybe your first one. No, it doesn't look like the drawing above, and that's fine. The exercise here was to build off what we've learned. We've talked about gesture drawings, we've talked about hatch marks. You know what, while we're at it, let's go ahead and do that. Yes, we shall. Let's do some hatch marks. We're going to come down here. I'll get a black. I'm going to make sure my brush is at a hard edge that I want. I'm going to bring my brush size all the way down to like a 7. Let's just go ahead and build up some shadows in through here. Get really nice and close. I'm going to follow this around, so I'm going to come like that. That's fine, but let's go ahead and actually build our opacity all the way up to, say, 60. Let's try that again. A little hatching going on. A knot of eggs. Just going to build some lines over here. Hatch them out. Do the same thing over here, but let's build all the way to an 81. Let's do some hatching over here. Pretending to put a little bit of texture through here. Here's a little spigot. Let's really build this area up through here. We'll do this area up through here. Bring it back. So you guys learned a lot of different tips and techniques today from Photoshop, some tips, gold nuggets like that. You learned gesture drawing, you reinforced that. We talked about line drawings from the gesture drawings, and then we threw some hatch marks in there for good measures. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, because we can carry it on to character design, which that's my forte, and we will do that very soon. I appreciate your time. Again, this is Derek Stevens from 3dbuzz.com. I'm the Crow. Thank you very much for being here.